Coming up on the January edition of Artifacts, we're talking TV commercials with Ruth Johnston and Ginny Heuer, 26th Street Artist Program, Pat Young, landscape architect and sculptor Derek Young, and then Katy Tessman sings contemporary urban folk right here in our studio. And there's more. Artifacts with a new twist for the new year is next.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first edition of Artifacts for 1998. I'm Janet Zahn with the Office of Film, Video, and Recording.
And I'm Phill Lindsay with the Minneapolis Community Development Agency. And we're also kicking off a new feature, a regular feature we hope here on Artifacts, news about our respective fields. We're going to start out right in City Hall. There's a new initiative, the City Beautiful and the Arts Initiative. The idea is to affect both CUE, the Committee on Urban Environment, and the Arts Commission. For CUE, the idea is to have them come up with some elements for a new plan to improve the city's overall visual look and the impact of the city's built environment. For the Arts Commission, the idea is to have them take a look at their mission and come out with a clear, broad arts agenda for the city.
Sounds good. There's education news in the film, video, and digital communications arena. Here in Minnesota, we are having discussions at the post-secondary level, including a proposal at the U of M to combine the School of Journalism and Speech Communication, which would include a new Institute for Media Studies. The Star Tribune has also reported that the U plans to introduce a Master of Arts degree with an emphasis in multimedia design this year. And finally, the Minnesota Office of Technology has been leading discussions on creating a Minnesota Institute for Media Technology.
Well, and on the national front, William Ivey is Bill Clinton's choice to head up the National Endowment for the Arts. The interesting thing there is that he comes out of the Country Music Foundation in Nashville, which he's been heading up. And so he actually has a background in both the commercial and the nonprofit arenas. In fact, one of the interesting things is, assuming he's confirmed, is he'd be the first head of the NEA to have ever started up and then run a nonprofit organization.
Which should be beneficial,
yeah,
I would think.
Yeah, advocates out there are kind of excited about his perspective.
Right. And I'm kind of excited to tell everybody that Spark, one of the Blockbuster McKnight Film Fund Award winners, was accepted into the prestigious Sundance Film Festival, which is taking place in January in Park City, Utah. And that was directed by Garrett Williams, who is a Washburn High graduate.
Great. Local boy goes to Utah. Very good. And I'm ready to make my 1998 prediction.
I'm very excited.
Minneapolis in 1998 is going to see its first bad art gallery. Now, what do I mean by that? It's a trend that started out in California. They go out, they stock up their galleries with patently bad art. People flock in, pay big bucks for bad art.
So people are making money, a lot of money.
Apparently so, hand over fist. We're going to get one.
Can't wait. And most of you have probably heard already. Phill, I don't know if you have heard yet, but Mary Tyler Moore and Rhoda Morgenstern are getting back together on ABC next fall for a new show.
Oh, that is exciting.
Very exciting, but I'm really just troubled because my big thing is, Mary, and if you're watching, please don't go to the middle of Manhattan and throw up the hat in the middle of Manhattan Street.
I think they can. They're both using walkers now.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, so on.
So anyhow, so there you have a little bit of news. And we want you to stay tuned because coming up is a look at the fabulous giveaway we do every month. More than you'd ever care to know about how to get this month's giveaway.
And then after that, our first guests, Ginny Heuer and Ruth Johnston, will be here to talk about television commercial production and the organization that supports that industry in town, the Association of Independent Commercial Producers. And we're going to show you a couple of great spots, too, so stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll be with you right away.
Announcing the January 1998 Artifacts giveaway. This beautiful, eminently frameable poster was commissioned to commemorate the 50-year anniversary of the Minneapolis Community Development Agency and the Minneapolis Public Housing Authority. It was created by local artist Jocelyn Bullock, and it could be yours. Simply call the City Cable 34 hotline at 673-2234 and leave your name, address, and phone number on the answering machine. At the end of the month, all of the call-in names go into a hat, and one name comes out of the hat. If it's yours, this poster will be delivered to your doorstep in no time. The number again, 673-2234. The Fabulous Artifacts Giveaway. Call today.
Hi, everybody. I'm Janet Zahn, and this morning, for our first segment, we're going to be talking about television commercials. And I have two people who work in that business, been in the business locally for a while, seasoned veterans. Ruth Johnston is here from James Productions. She's executive producer there. And Ginny Heuer, who's an independent producer, freelancer here in town. Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad you both could be here. Tell us a little bit about making a TV commercial. What's the process? Where does it start? And how does an executive producer fit into that?
Okay. An agency will contact us because they have a storyboard or a script or a concept that they want to get prices on and approaches on. So we'll usually have a conversation with the agency, either in person or on the phone, where they describe to us what their thoughts were about the concept, and then in turn the director will talk about his ideas and how he would execute this. We go away, we put together an estimate. Usually there's a multiple bid situation. They're talking to a number of directors to find somebody that they feel compatible with. And so then once we've negotiated the price, we start production. And it's at that point that I would hand off the project to somebody like Ginny.
Producer.
The producer, the line producer.
The line producer. I usually get the project and I get a bid that they have put together, so I have X amount of dollars to spend on this project. And by that time the director has talked with the agency and they have generally an approach and an idea of what they want to go. So I am more in charge of the nitty-gritty, you might say. I help put together the props or the set or the location, depending on whether it's going to be in studio or on location, gather the crew together depending on who the director wants and needs, and make sure that all is produced within the money and the budget that we do have. So it's, I guess, putting all the craftspeople and the technicians together to actually come together and shoot the commercial on a specific day.
Ginny, what brought you to this business?
I think luck. I was a theater major and into theater, and I had a friend that got into this business and said it's very much like theater. You have a lot of people going towards basically an opening night. You know, you have to have everything ready and going, and so I sort of fell into it that way and felt very much at home from doing theater for a long time. So,
Ruth, what do you like best about it?
Well, I think I've always liked the people that we work with and just the whole energy of the business. It's what, I mean, it's the good part and the tough part as well, because it's a very high energy business, and it's
long hours.
It's long hours, and it's long hours, but you know, and it's kind of keeping up with everything, and because advertising reflects our culture, and so whatever is new is what we're doing.
You are both also members of an organization called AICP, the Association of Independent Commercial Producers. This is an organization that supports people that are in the production side of the business. Ruth, you happen to be president of the local chapter this year, and Ginny is also on the board. Tell us just briefly, because I do want to show some spots so people get to see some examples of what it is you do.
Don't hog all the air time.
Just tell us just what is AICP?
Well, it's a trade organization, and it represents about 85% of the people who make television commercials for broadcast, and it's a national organization. In fact, there's talk about it becoming an international organization eventually. And they do what trade organizations do. They set guidelines so that there's some consistency throughout the country as to how people work, so that everybody is delivering the best product possible. They negotiate with unions. They negotiate with government. They do educational seminars and promote that. And in fact, you know, that's a real focus for our chapter right now. Something coming up that I think we're going to talk about.
Yeah, and I do want to talk about that, but I want to show some spots first so people have an idea of, as we've discussed, what it is you do, so they can see some samples of the work. And what we're going to see are just as a real variety of the types of things that are produced locally. These are all done by local directors, local production companies, and I have to say, it's just dynamite work. So let's take a look at it, and we'll be back to talk a little bit about the next seminar that AICP is bringing up.
Because they are yours, you will do what you can to make it better for them. You will balance the instinct to protect with the knowledge that life is to be experienced. You will try to smooth their road, but you will not flatten it. You will allow the choices to be theirs. because they are your children. They're your parents. They are you. And you will do what you can. Medica, helping you make better healthcare choices.
Special love. We've got that special love. Special love. We've got that special love. Special. We've got that special love. It's plain to see. You and I were meant to be.
Tiger Shark.
Special love.
One ride and nothing else matters.
Got that special love. Special. We've got that special love.
Well, that was some great work. I just get jazzed by it. I think it's really fun to watch. I was watching a whole reel of that work that was put together for a party that you guys did in December. And it's just,
Yeah, it's fun.
yeah, it's real gratifying to see. Let's talk about the workshop coming up, because this is a really neat deal, real important kind of event for the chapter. Ginny, do you want to tell a little bit
Sure.
about it?
We have an AICP, it's called a production workshop, and basically we're having a lot of people that have been in the industry for a long time being the instructors, giving some tips about everything from hands-on to how to bid a job, things like that. Everything from tax forms to the nitty-gritty of things, because it is a business as well as a creative side of the business. So it's talking more about the business side of the business and giving a really good overview of that.
And when does it take place?
It takes place January 31st. There's 2 sessions on that day. I think it's 9 to 12 and then 1 to 4. And then the following Sunday, February 1st, from 1 to 4.
And I just want to say, if people have any questions or want to know more about the seminar, they can call my office. That number, excuse me, that number is 673-2947. Again, 673-2947. I also want to talk a little bit about what maybe AICP is planning for 1998. I know in 96 and part of 97, the industry did experience a bit of a slump. And AICP was right there coming up with some plans to, some real proactive kinds of things to make people aware of what we do have here, to increase local agency business in town, and also to encourage regional agencies to come into town to do some work. There were a number of things that AICP did. One of them was a FAM tour, a familiarity tour, and I know we're talking about doing that again. You want to tell a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, I think that, you know, we had to, as an organization, take some steps to make sure that people did understand what the depth of talent was here, and to let local agencies know that their work was very important to us, and we wanted to be involved as much as possible. And so this next year we have a committee that's planning the event, and it will probably be a combination of reaching out to local agencies as well as agencies from around the country, since many of the production companies here work with agencies that come from anywhere. Yeah. So that committee is going to report back to the board January or February, and then we'll have some deeper plans.
How have you seen, Ginny, over the years, or just recently, the changes in the business?
I think things happen faster than they used to. We used to get a lot more lead time on projects, I think, and things come in a lot faster. We have a lot less time to do things, and yet the expectations are still as high as they've always been. So it's just a little quicker turnaround time on things.
Ruth, have you seen, as an executive producer, those same changes?
Yeah, sure. I mean, agencies are under the gun from their clients to get things done fast, and people are reacting to the marketplace. And so where you might have had a week to think about how you're going to approach a particular project, now you may have 24 hours, so, or less. I mean, it does happen quick.
And you have to just be right there on the cutting edge of everything as an industry to respond to the agency business, which is also has to be right there for their clients. Kind of goes right down the line.
Right.
So we've got the workshop coming up at the end of January, January 31st and February 1st, and probably who might be interested in attending?
Well, I was just going to comment on that because I think that primarily we're hoping that people who have had a little bit of experience in the business or who have been around it and perhaps have the support of a production company behind them, but otherwise we're looking for people who have a real interest in moving up the production ladder. Anybody who's been a production assistant, whether it's been in video production or film production, or on the agency side as well. I think it certainly can help anyone who wants to know more about television production. But it really is geared toward people who have at least a rudimentary knowledge and have been around a set or around people who work in the business.
And for those people who are maybe a bit younger, still in high school or in college or looking for a career change and are interested in this business, what would your advice be to them? What would be something important for them to bring to the business?
Yikes, that's hard.
Boy, that is hard.
There aren't a lot of programs in colleges or high schools that are geared toward it. The AICP is a sponsor of a mentorship program in the high schools. You could probably speak a little more to that. It's not in every high school. Otherwise, it is a tough field to get into. I mean, I think you can try some informational interviews. I think it's hard for high school students because they just don't have the time to devote.
But if they're going to do continuing education, they're going to go on to college, is there anything they should study specifically, or is it just no?
I'm sure, I think having film studies or advertising or a marketing background, all of that is going to relate to this business very strongly. And, there's a strong cable access program throughout this whole state, and, getting yourself down to a cable access facility and working on some things like that also gives you the rudimentary skills to know what is entailed in any kind of a production. And I think those kinds of things are really eye-opening for folks and would let you know what entailed in a bigger production too.
Or the theater business, or the theater end of things, because that's what commercial making is anyway, when you get down to it. It's drama. High drama sometimes.
Well, thank you both for coming today. It was really a pleasure, as always.
Thank you for the invitation.
My pleasure. Well, we also have good news for Minnesota's independent filmmakers. First, Northwest Airlines has replaced Blockbuster as a sponsor of the Blockbuster McKnight Film Fund, which has been renamed the Minnesota Independent Film Fund. And 5 Minnesota filmmakers were recently named recipients of the Film Fund Awards. The winning filmmakers are Fred Cheng, Martin Keller, Katherine Martin, Tim McCusker, and Andrew Peterson. And right after a very short break, you'll see clips from the work of 4 of these 5 finalists. Congratulations all, and thanks to Northwest Airlines for stepping up to the plate.
Where's Carly Bradford?
This live.
What?
This live.
Desk layer down the hall to your right.
Yeah, well, I did a guest star on Baywatch. Yeah, it was a small part, but, really
She's in
helped
Death's
out.
Lair.
I thought
Death's
maybe
Lair,
we
come
could,
on.
I thought maybe we can get a drink or something.
Man, this is hopeless. That's her. That's Carly. Come on. Look, where's Death's Lair?
I'm sorry, sir. We can't help the patrons.
Give me that. Help! Give me help, Psycho! Pete!
Shit.
Of the 2,000 males tested, 2,000 have been found to be infertile. Indications are that the population will decline by 100% immediately.
Do you have anything to eat, Mother?
In the chute.
This stuff's not bad. This is a new flavor.
We've collected the most virile men from every enclave in the country. Not one of them has healthy sperm.
We're gonna find the answer. I mean, you can't just give up on these guys. Ooh, baby. Slice that stuff. You know, they do seem to be changing. I mean, this guy right here, he makes me feel, what is that word? Horny.
I slumped, with my window blinds pulled in the crosshairs of this Midwestern winter afternoon. It was a virtual inhabited glacier, a polar ice cap, a deep space ice ball covered with ancient dust. I've been nipping steadily on beer after beer, and for no reason at all, I was trying to make sense of some flickering football game being beamed through the gloom from another universe. The universe of X's and O's, cheerleaders, and curious green astroturf. How long had I been watching? Who knows? It was the endless game. It's always there. The uniforms change, but the game goes on, and I sank deeper and deeper into the naugahyde. I stared and stared as if trying to fathom the innards of the set. Color, motion, plumes of steam emanating from flared nostrils, stamping feet, flailing forearms, grunts, grimaces, bruises, migraines, hypodermic needles, smelling salts, stampedes cut short by men with whistles and striped shirts. Why were they trying to break each other's bones, and why were they paid so much to do it? But wait. What was that? There, in an instant replay freeze frame, I saw something. Oh my God. Outlined by football jerseys and grass-stained knee pads, there in that freeze frame, I saw a face. But not just any face. Could it be? Yes. Look. Murky at first, and plain as day. It was the beatific face of the Virgin Mary, Mother of God.
I'm sorry.
Sorry! I'm sorry. No more sorry. Help this man. He wants to rent one of those things.
Storage unit.
Right. And here, take this tape and send it out with the next delivery. Do you think you can handle that much?
Yes, Mr. Gross. Sorry. How can I help you?
Is he usually like that?
It's really not so bad.
Why don't you quit?
Well, congratulations again to the Minnesota Blockbuster McKnight Film Fund Award winners whose work you just saw. We'll keep you posted on the progress of their film projects throughout the year. And now I'd like to introduce you to someone special, Pat Young.
Hi.
It's nice to have you here.
Thank you. It's
Pat,
good to be here.
Once upon a time, we go back a ways, is where I'm coming from here. Once upon a time, there was a not-so-small room in the back of Whittier Park.
Yes.
And I remember you there, a bunch of kids, and I'm kind of making this up, but as I recall, there was construction paper, there was glue, there was color, there were markers. You're involved with the 26th Street Artists.
That's correct.
Is that where it all started?
Yes.
What were you doing back then?
Back then, I was offering art classes to anybody in the community, all ages. And I met another woman named Mary Ford who wanted to specifically work with adults who have experienced a mental illness. And we offered an art and movement class that lasted 6 or 8 weeks, I can't remember. It's been 16 years now. And, and that turned into a part-time program, to a full-time program, and now with an emerging leadership program.
That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. The exact name of the organization?
The Mental Health Association of Minnesota. We are a program of the Mental Health Association.
And then your program, you call it the 26th Street Artists Program. What is it?
I'm actually the director of the arts program, and 26th Street Artists is one of the aspects of that arts program.
Okay.
The other is something we call art working, and that is a class that I do at the Marsh in Minnetonka, Ruth Stricker's Center for Balance and Fitness. The classes are available to anybody in the community, whether they're a member of the Marsh or not.
Right, that's just the location, what goes on. But you also do this in drop-in centers, you're saying?
Yes, the 26th Street Artists Program is specifically for people who have experienced a mental illness, and I work at 3 different centers. One is in Crystal, one is in Bloomington, and since August, I'm really pleased to say that I'm now in Minneapolis, in that central location near where this program started on 26th Street.
Down at Whittier Park? That's so neat. What was the origin with Whittier Park? How did you just say to them, there's a need and can I use that room, or did they come to you these many years ago?
That's fun to think about.
Yeah.
I actually was just looking for a place where I could be teaching art, and I went to the then director, Lawrence Hutera, showed him my art, and he loved everything but said, we really don't have a position available, but will you volunteer at an event? So I thought, oh, sure, I'll do this. And soon after that, somebody quit, and there was a position open, and that was the beginning of working in the art room at the park.
How did you then later connect with the Mental Health Association?
Well, Mary and I did the 6 to 8 week class.
Yeah.
The owner of one facility asked us to start this program, create something that didn't exist, a pre-vocational program with a product that would sell in the community for his residents. And it was during that time of doing this program part-time and actually starting to kind of run out of energy doing it, that I was getting awards from the Mental Health Association.
Oh, okay.
So they knew about the work that was being done, and it was pretty interesting because it seemed as though every time I was thinking, I'm going to quit doing this, I would get some kind of an award. And gradually,
well, that's positive.
I know it was. And so I think, well, maybe I need to keep doing this. And then they finally just kept talking with me, and it was important to me that I go in the direction of an organization that is strong with advocacy for the people with mental illnesses, because there are a lot of things that need to be changed and have changed in the last 16 years.
Right.
But the Mental Health Association really works to make those kinds of changes through education and legislatively and with advocacy.
Sounds like a neat fit for what you wanted to
it
do
is.
And their needs.
Exactly.
Great combination. And you were nice enough to bring some examples.
Yes.
Let's just start looking at these different things. Very colorful. That's the first impression I have right off the bat.
Okay. Let's see here.
Oh, yes, yes.
Let's see. I'll start with these.
Yeah. Now, what is this?
This is a journal, and the cover of the journal has been painted by one of the participants.
Oh, very nice.
And
Now, how is that done? Is that a watercolor? I'm kind of
Yes.
guessing here.
The main thing that we work with is watercolors.
Okay, and then it looks like they laminate it, so there's some durability there.
Yes.
And
I'll
then
let
they
you
have
look at those.
numerous pages here to put your thoughts. Oh, and there's some quotes in here. Look at this. This is kind of nice. A quote from apparently one of the artists.
Yes.
That's great. Okay. And what is this? Oh, yes, I know what this is.
This is a pocket calendar for 1997?
No,
1998?
this is now. That was then.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great. And again, this is a calendar for the year, and the artist, as I understand it, signs it.
That's correct.
In here. That's pretty neat. These are gorgeous.
These are the note cards. This is what we started out making. And
God, that's colorful. Can I hold this one
sure.
for a second? Boy, I don't know if our camera can get in on this, but I like the energy and the dynamism of this. It's really expressive. Great. And this one, similarly, but much more subtle. The one you're holding here. Really quite nice. How long does it take somebody to do one of these? It's all by hand, right? I mean, this is not mass-produced.
Right. It's all by hand. What I basically do is I try to teach people how to use watercolors as a meditation. And so to answer your question, some individuals actually take 3 classes to do one painting.
Wow.
And another person might do 10 paintings in a single class time. So they learn to use the paints in a way that can assist them in relieving stress in their lives. And sometimes as they progress in the class, going back to that one individual that takes 3 classes to do one painting might end up doing 1 or 2 or 3 paintings in a class, and the one that does 10 might start to do 1.
Wow.
So
I like that meditative aspect of it. That's pretty neat. And these are items that eventually become for sale.
They are for sale, and the proceeds go to the individual artist minus the cost for supplies.
Okay. And you have sales. Tell us about it. Semi-annual sales? You do this a couple times a year?
We do. We have a sale that typically has been in at Colonial Church in Edina in the fall, usually in November. And then we have a spring sale at another location, which has typically been someplace in St. Paul.
Okay.
And then
kind of cover the Twin Cities this way. It sounds like your classes are all over the metro area.
Right.
The sales are on both sides of the metro area.
Right.
Who's coming? Who comes to take your classes?
The individuals that are in the drop-in centers are really people whose lives have really been stopped by the illness. So I might have, and I have had, individuals who are developmentally delayed in the same class with someone that has had 3 college degrees.
Wow.
There are people who have worked full-time as accountants. There are individuals who maybe because of the illness never were able to finish their college, or maybe have never had a job, in the same class with someone that was a middle manager in a big business here in the Twin Cities. It's a combination of anybody who has found that their experiences with depression, manic depression, or schizophrenia have halted their life in some way. And at the drop-in centers, people are able to get back on their feet again, get the support that they need, and many of those individuals can decide for themselves what a measure of success is for them. Some people will limit their lives to alleviate the stress, and others go right back, to what it is that they were doing before the illness hit.
I ran into you at the Pillsbury House, South Minneapolis, this past fall, and there was an exhibition. Actually, it was an interactive exhibition because those of us that showed up could help make things right then and there, and some of them would go up on the wall. Are exhibitions a typical thing you're involved in?
No, this is something new. Again, with the development of the leadership program, I have individuals that are working with me to be able to assist the program in some way, along with individuals from the community who also want to help in some way. So that was really our first exhibit. And we also will be at Robin Gallery in Robbinsdale this January, and I'm hoping that people will come see this collaborative collage, which is made out of handmade paper, handmade porcelain buttons, and weavings that have been done by individuals who are members of drop-in centers who were taught by the individuals in my leadership program.
I saw some of those buttons, or you know, the earlier version of these buttons, I think, down at Pillsbury House, and they're wonderful.
Yeah,
they're just charming.
they're beautiful.
And stuff like that. When you and I were talking before we sat down to do this some days ago, you said something about art is a marathon. I love that image. Can you talk a little bit about what you mean by that?
Okay. In my classes, I find that when this illness hits, people really struggle with what is success and what is failure. And especially when maybe they're alienated from their family and friends, they are, because of the illness, they are really very sensitive about being able to accomplish anything. So when they come into the art classes, I really see them in a pretty fragile state. And one of the things that I really try to help them to look at in terms of what this art class is about is to think of this more as a marathon, in that the person in a marathon that comes in first is certainly given a lot of applause for being the first person in, but also the last person that comes in. It might be 5 hours later, and that person will still get the applause for having tried.
That's true.
So I really ask people to not compete with each other, but to figure out their own pacing and to be the first one to give applause for just trying.
Oh, that's a great image. I like that a lot. In other words, the race, the marathon isn't over till the last person comes in.
That's right.
That's
and we're all
good.
a part of it.
Pat, we're just about out of time. If people wanted to find out more about this program, there's a phone number they can call?
The number for the Mental Health Association is 331-6840.
Okay.
And anybody who wants more information about the 26th Street Artist Program can call there. And if you want information about the Marsh, that's the class that's available to anybody in the community.
Okay.
I've had lawyers, accountants, nuns
Really?
in that class.
Sounds like a
yes.
good mix of people.
Great group.
Well, I'm thrilled, and I want to thank you. These are gorgeous. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here.
Good to see you again.
You bet.
Thanks.
Great. Well, this is a rough time of year for lawn and garden enthusiasts, so we thought we'd ease the pain a bit by inviting our next guests to the studio. Stay tuned for a visit with landscape architect and sculptor Derek Young right after this. And welcome back. My next guest, Derek Young. Actually, years ago, we shared a wall together, didn't we?
Yes,
Many
we
years.
did.
It's nice to have you on the show.
Nice to see you
I've been
again,
eager to
Phil.
have you come on. Derek Young is a landscape architect and a sculptor.
Yes.
In fact, that raises a question. To which did you arrive first? Landscape architecture or sculpture?
Yes, I'm trained as a landscape architect.
Okay.
But my orientation and desire is for sculpting as well.
Okay. And the wall we shared was overlooking, you had a wonderful view of Loring Pond,
Yes.
as I recall, right down by Loring Park. But you've since moved to bigger water. You're essentially overlooking the Mississippi now.
You're right, St. Anthony, Maine.
That's right. Nice space you've got over there. Well, you were nice enough, and I want to go right to some of these models here and other images that you brought, because you were nice enough to bring in some of the tools of your trade, which, along with architects, landscape architects, these models I find are just fascinating to get into. So I'm going to suggest maybe we start with this one, which is right here in front of us. Derek, would you just tell us what we're looking at and what the concept behind it is?
All right. This is a speculative project for a plaza next to, say, Orchestra Hall. If you could kind of translate this onto Peavey Plaza, with the Orchestra Hall being here and 11th out there. As an example, this is only an example. The idea is to play with the image of people being dressed up and interacting with not only one another, but with themselves and with others through the mirrors. So there is a play going on here, a drama in and of itself. And I would see this as a pass-through space, but also as a gathering space, say at the interval, and
It's
could have the
fascinating.
fairs and so on.
And I'm hoping our cameras have had a chance to kind of pick this up, because as you were explaining as we sat down, the important thing for a potential client, customer, or user of this plaza is to see this not as you and I are seeing it from above, which we'd have to be in a helicopter, but literally sort of from eye level, as it were, along with these. I see some celebrities down here
Yes.
that are now gracing our city. This is great.
These are the beautiful people.
That's
I
right.
had to give an edge to it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And they all dressed up for the occasion. So this is good. And as you say, speculative. So is this? Am I correct in assuming then that you had a vision? Something came to you and you thought this would be how I would want to work this kind of a space.
Yes. Yes. I do this quite a lot. When something has happened in the city, I want to see what I would do with it. And this was the idea that kind of lay dormant for many years, but I did this model about 3 years ago.
And you use Orchestra Hall as an example, but that's really just a point of departure. In essence, this could translate to a number, any number probably, of public spaces.
Right.
Well, it's very dynamic. I like what you've done here. Are there certain Derek Young trademarks in here? I see at least one, and I'm taking a guess.
All right.
Here. But the patterning that you've done on the actual floor surface, the walking surface here, you work with sort of natural patterns and rhythms a lot.
I do. One of the things that I didn't want to do here, typically designers like myself do a grid to organize space.
Yes.
I wanted to break that down. I wanted to not have a focal point and a rhythm that would march you through the space. I wanted it to kind of be meandering and rather gathering as well. So there is no movement through the space that hurries you on through like a marching band.
Right, and there are little cul-de-sacs where people can gather for smaller, more intimate conversations or whatever. I see Hugh Grant's wandering around looking for one of those right now, I think, as a matter of fact. This is wonderful. You've brought another, and actually I see some similarities in some of the elements, but dramatically different.
Yes.
This space, and can you talk about this? This is right here behind us.
Yes, this is a diagram of a sunflower seed, and I put stones on this model here to represent the spiraling that goes on in a sunflower. And then this was added later, and this reminds me somewhat of a fertility goddess. And so she sits in the middle and is a celebration of motherhood. And all these lines go in and from her, and these characters are dancing around in celebration.
And these would be sculptural elements?
Yes.
Sculptural?
Yes.
Right.
These would be, say, cut out of steel, similar to what Calder has done at the Walker there.
I almost get calligraphy out of some of these.
Yes. There is a strong influence of Chinese, Japanese calligraphy. And I'm going back with these characters to the origins of pictograms and gestures, which is the origin of Chinese calligraphy to begin with.
And now, Derek, these columns, this circular colonnade here that embraces it, why is that there?
That is to demonstrate that it could be in a courtyard of some sort. It could be a square courtyard. It seemed to lend itself to a round expression here. And it could be in a courtyard almost anywhere. Now,
I'm not trained a whit along the lines that you are, but my sense is that the scale here, along with the rhythm, is what helps unify this.
Yes, right. It seemed that the arches express this kind of rhythmic thing that I'm trying to express here. I'm also very much of a frustrated dancer, so some of these things are my expression of dance.
Good for you. All right, nice interweaving there of different sort of art forms, as it were.
Yes.
Well, now from the speculative to an actual project you're working on out in Farmington, Minnesota. You were nice enough to bring in, I'm going to hold up here, an aerial view.
Yes.
For those of us that don't know, can you just describe what we're looking at? Where is this?
All right, this is Farmington proper in this section. This is Highway 3 that runs, connects with the city. And this is on the east side of Farmington and is referred to as East Farmington. And what we have done here is a development of about 176 acres using the layout of and the scale of the city, which is a very nice scale. And what we've done here is put parks in the middle so that these lots, instead of an alley down the middle, these go onto a common park, and each block has its own backyard park. And there is a boulevard runs north and east and west here, and then there's another one goes north and south. This is being developed already. This is being developed currently. And at this intersection of these two boulevards, we are going to put in a fountain right in the middle of it, and a pool. A pool is about 50 feet across, and will become a skating rink in the winter.
Oh, so year-round then?
Yes, it'll be
the animated water.
year-round.
Oh, okay.
And this will be, in the summer, this will be a foaming fountain that will be lit up as a focal point.
And I see, as you hold that there for another second, of course, this is the top view here, giving a sense of the circumference of it. And then for a pedestrian, one would enter this space, underneath the canopy?
Yes, yes.
And at the same time, viewers will see this lovely-looking kind of fountain underneath it, kind of going up skyward there.
Yes. And as you drive around it, then the lower branches of the trees will frame that.
You know, I'm actually quite impressed. I've been through Farmington any number of times. It's a lovely community, but this is a tremendous contribution to their civic design. This is major.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
One of the major problems we had when we first started this, there's a high water table which is about 4 feet below grade, and so we had to make sure that the water drained away. In fact, this is a created waterway that goes up to the Vermilion River out of the picture here. This was done by another firm, but we are connecting here with our waterways, and so everything drains in this waterway and goes into that as a holding pond.
What you just described is one of the things I find fascinating about your field that you're in, and that is the connectedness. I mean, literally from the geology of it and the hydrology through the design, and as to jump over to one of your other models here, the artistic inspiration of it.
Yes.
That really inherent element that speaks to you. Where do you get your inspirations? What, other than an assignment from a client that might say, this is what I want, but when you're responding to a more general opportunity, where do you get your ideas?
Well, there are many things. This was the idea here was generated by the context of Farmington as it exists now. Then the other important factor there was this waterway. So this became a very important element. We didn't want holding ponds that are typically holes in the ground with a fence around. So this drainage way becomes a holding pond, and eventually will be a water garden.
Okay.
So that was where that inspiration came from.
Interesting. So in this case, sort of the topography helped you define the response to it.
Yes. And the city's requirements not to have flooded basements. That was a major.
Well, they're doing their job. Then
element.
that's good. Yeah.
And we didn't want to aggravate an existing condition, so we wanted to create something that would help the situation, and hence all these ponds.
So beauty and utility.
Yes.
Well done.
Right.
Well done. I'm eager to see this. When might one go out there and see this fini?
Well, this is now under contract for bidding and building this summer.
Oh, okay.
So by midsummer, we hope to have this in the ground, functioning, and a nice feature.
I look forward to that.
And the trees, of course, will go in.
Indeed, and then grow,
obviously,
as time progresses. Dear, we have just a minute left, if you can believe that. I wanted to ask you sort of a general question about the field that you're in, certainly landscape architecture. Are you noticing any trends, any particular movement in the way folks that do what you do are responding to their clients, to their communities?
Yes, there's a definite upgrading of quality in the landscape itself. Most communities now are not letting developers just get by with a few sticks here and there, and the 2.5-inch trees are required, 6-foot evergreens are required. But there's a general raising of consciousness as to the beauty and the livability of a better landscape.
Oh, wonderful.
And also there's a movement now towards using native prairie species as well as the horticultural varieties, and that's extending the vocabulary of what we can do.
Right.
So there is a lot that can happen, and also in a general sense, in an artistic sense, there are things that are really happening, such as Martha Schwartz's Plaza as an example.
Oh, across
Yes.
from City Hall, downtown Minneapolis,
Yes.
there by the new federal courthouse.
Right, that is a work of art.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not is a second question, but it is a work of art, and it's put there as a work of art rather than
consciously.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Intentionally.
As would this be.
Sure.
And this in a sense.
Well, Derek, I thank you for bringing these examples, these samples of your work to us. Pleasure to have you on the show.
Well, thank you very much, Phil.
All right, keep us updated.
Thanks.
On your projects. Well, one of the new twists for the new year on Artifacts is to bring more performances to the show, and true to our new form, Katy Tessman will be singing For You right after this Art Fact. And just one quick reminder, you're watching Artifacts on City Cable 34 in Minneapolis. We'll be right back with Katy.
Yesterday I was handcuffed. Yesterday I played by someone's rules. They say hindsight is 20/20, but I can see what's in front of me. Tomorrow the sun will shine. Tomorrow there will be greener pastures. Call me reborn, call me what you will, but this whole idea gives me a chill. I'm gonna push through this funk like the moon pushes the ocean. Control it, steer it, wash it This house holds a lot of memories. This house saw a lot of tears, sleepless nights and stumbling around. That's when I knew for it's a crowd. I'm gonna push through this funk like the moon pushes the ocean. Control it, steer it, wash it A change will do me good. A change to what I know. Now it's just my silhouette, and there is nothing I regret. I'm gonna push through this funk like the moon pushes the ocean. Control it, steer it, wash it Wash it
Katy Tessman.
Hey.
Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to have you here.
Nice to be
So
here.
your career's taken off. You're working.
Yeah.
Yeah, where are you gonna be a bunch?
Well, I play at Ginkgo Coffee House and Dunn Brothers and Coffee Grounds. Coffee Grounds is kind of my home away from home. I play there every month.
That's neat. That's over in St. Paul?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You got something coming up at the end of January?
The end of January, the 31st,
Yep.
the last day at Anodyne Coffee House.
Yeah, South Minneapolis.
South Minneapolis, Nicollet and 43rd.
Oh, good for you. I wouldn't have known the cross street there. That's great.
Music starts at 8:30.
8:30. Okay, well, thanks so much, Katy Tessman.
Thank you.
Well, now, Janet's going to be back in just a moment, right after we take a look at this art fact. Stay tuned. Thanks, Katy. Well, hey, Janet.
Hey,
Nice show.
Phil.
I enjoyed that. By the way, what you were just hearing underneath that art fact was some a cut from Jean Arlen Peterson. She was one of the Midwest Jazz Masters, just announced by Arts Midwest.
New CD.
New CD out. Yeah.
You can get
so
that.
That's kind of neat.
Mhm.
One can get that, and so call the City Cable 34 hotline if you want to find out more about what they're doing over there. 673-2234.
But don't forget the follow-up question to the art fact, too.
That's right. You also just watched an art fact about Moliere, and so for bonus points out there, Artifacts viewers, if you know what that play was, that comedy, call the City Cable 34 hotline.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right. What else?
Well, I wanted to mention Katy Tessman, who was just singing that wonderful song. She wrote it. She plays it. She does it all. And if you want to find out more about her schedule, in the credits, stay tuned for the credits. We're going to put up her post office box or something, and you can write in, get on her mailing list, and she'll send you all the info about her career.
Hey, you got some more fun things, too, and I do, too.
Do you?
Right on a piece of paper. Yeah.
Okay, what do you got?
Go first?
Yeah.
This is a review that was on the Ain't It Cool network online. A review of With or Without You, locally directed and produced film, and I had to read one of these lines here of the review. Says, watch for this one Mega Mondo Gen X hit.
That's Hollywood talk, folks.
With or Without You.
I'm going.
I am
going.
too.
I don't even know what this is all about.
But anything that's a Mega Mondo
If I
Gen
don't
X
go,
hit.
is it still without me?
With or without you, Phil, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's still a Mega Mondo.
And it was done here?
It was shot here, produced here, directed by a local director.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. A couple other quick things happening over at the Northern Clay Center. Exhibit opens January 16th. 5 Jerome artists. They've got great work over there. Ceramic artists, 5 Minnesota ceramic artists. I would suggest you go and see that over in Franklin Avenue, over in the Seward neighborhood. And this thrills me. Theatre de la Jeune Lune, they're opening Shakespeare's 12th night. It opens January 28th, end of the month, runs through March 22nd. One of Shakespeare's sunniest comedies. And here's my favorite one. Playing Sir Toby Belch, Dominique Sorand. You must see it just for Dominique Sorand as Sir Toby Belch. It's typecasting. It's great.
Yes.
So, good
Is that
show.
it?
That's it.
Oh, cool.
Let's go do some work, folks.
Yeah. We've got events calendar coming
That's
up.
right. So grab your pencil, note what's going on, and stay tuned for Artifacts next month.
But don't forget, there's something special that they're going to be seeing under the events calendar.
Oh, that's right. Our crack crew went up to the American Variety Theater Company space up in North Minneapolis to catch some young people who were part of the Noise Funk Dance Challenge. And what you'll be seeing, and I think hearing kind of in the background, is some of their dancing. It was really cool stuff. 3 young women, and I think they're teachers in the shot too. So stay tuned for that. That happened last month, but we want to give you a little image of it.
Cool.
So, thanks.
Artifacts for January. We're done.
I'm Phil Lindsay.
And I'm Janet Zahn.
Rock,